Hello everyone. Today is new moon in Leo. It's August the 2nd, and just a few hours earlier Mars is changing from Scorpio into Sagittarius. This is very big. This is probably the biggest change we have seen so far this year. Mars has been in Scorpio pretty much for the last 7 months, with a short interlude into Sagittarius already before it then went back into Scorpio once more. As you know, there was the Mars retrograde from April into the end of June, when Mars was very brightly visible in the sky. Actually, when Earth traveled between Mars and the Sun, that happens every 2 years. So this is always a big time for Mars. We can see this planet brightly red in the sky. It's very prominent, and as it is, when a planet is closer to Earth, its influence is greatly enhanced. So we had that really Martian energy, Scorpionic energy in the last 7 months. After all, in the Chinese, this is the year of the fire monkey. Fire relates to Mars. Mars is a fire planet. So, and this is a very Martian year to start with. And Mars now changing from Scorpio, water, into Sagittarius, fire, is a huge change which you all will feel. I will definitely assure you on that. Mars will be in Sagittarius for the next 8 weeks till September 27th, and we can expect that this will be really the most moving, changing time within the whole of 2016. All the great moves we will see within the next 8 weeks, personally and collectively. Naturally, it's always hand in hand. In a way, each individual feels the collective and is expressing this in a personal way. In our personal lives, we are deeply connected with the collective. So my main focus is to look on the big picture, to see what really moves in the bigger way, and then we, each of us, will feel the repercussions on a very personal level. So, as I said, this is the year of the monkey, and in Washington, D.C., which, in my opinion, is the most important place on this planet right now, in this present time and age. Why would I say that? I guess it's pretty obvious. This is the one superpower we still have on our planet. Its capital is Washington. That's where the elite stands their ground. You might be interested to hear that the 77th meridian goes through Washington, 77 degrees west of Greenwich. You know about all the numerical obsession, the Kabbalah has, and that's a very clear sign that this place was built exactly in that location because of that frequency. So, in other words, Washington DC is the power hub. We are amidst huge changes planetary wise. It is this 20-year cycle, if you want, Jupiter and Saturn make from 2000 to 2020, which has been the last big step backwards into resolving karma, looking once more in a very personal and involved way of what our whole past is like, and we are now at the cusp of transcendence. By 2020, Jupiter and Saturn will meet in Aquarius. It will be the first of probably about 10 conjunctions in the air element. Now, Jupiter and Saturn have a very particular cycle. For 2 centuries in a row, these two major planets, the two really big ones in our solar system, are meeting in the same element: Earth, fire, water, air. So the last 2 centuries, Jupiter and Saturn have been meeting every 20 years in Earth elements, in Earth signs, which is Taurus, Virgo, and Capricorn. This gave a strongly materialistic undertone to the whole societal and economic and development. The main focus was on that materialistic aspect, and it so happens that 1980 we had the first conjunction. In that sense, I was not absolutely correct before, in the air sign, but it was like all the big movements in astrology. We had a retrogression, we had that first step into the new vision, if you want, and those of you who are old enough to having lived through that period, this was an extremely mind-opening 2 decades between 1980 to 2000. Lots of forward thinking, lots of optimism, lots of great ideas of what the world will be. Everybody was kind of longing towards the change into the 3rd millennium, and then came the Big Bang, if you want, the really big setback when Jupiter and Saturn once more went back into the Earth element, into fixed Earth actually, at 23 degrees Taurus. Jupiter and Saturn met in May 2000, setting the tone for these 2 decades we are still in. So this is really the biggest thing to keep in mind, that we are in that difficult phase of once more really having to deal with that karmic burden and look at it closely, personally and collectively again, to find ways to transcend and be ready for that real start of the new age by the year 2020. It so happens that Jupiter and Saturn just this year, 2016 and 2015, in these 2 years have come 3/4 of this cycle, which compares to the waning half moon, which is a time of reorientation. We just entered this period of the last 5 years of that cycle, which is all about reorientation, looking closely what is and finding ways to tweak it, to change, to adapt to something which is yet to come. It is realigning our focus to something much lighter, much bigger, much greater. We're really at that doorstep right now in these present years, and we have to be patient. Very important. It won't happen overnight. 2016 certainly has been a big, kind of almost like tearing a big hole into that smoke screen, if you want, which keeps us from perceiving reality in a direct way. So it has been overwhelming, and it won't change that fast. We will get further and deeper into this territory of great revelations, of unusual things. Just thinking of Cosmic Disclosure with David Wilcock and Corey Good on Gaia TV, where we learn all these unbelievable things about what's going on out there in outer space, what our governments have been involved in the last 70 years. So that's kind of the energy, the overall energy we have just entered, that which slowly will now roll out and become bigger. It's like the avalanche has been started. The first snowballs have really start gaining momentum. They're rolling downhill, catching on. Many more people get on board, understand, open their eyes, realize what's going on. So here you're looking at the chart of the year of the monkey, which in my opinion is the most important new moon of the year. No wonder the Chinese have been using this as the key, the marker of what a year holds. And as we know, the Chinese wisdom is very ancient. It's probably one of the most ancient cultures we have still alive on our planet, going probably back 5,000 years at least with the I Ching and Chinese astrology and whatever comes with it. So the kind of the deeper reason why this February new moon is so primarily important is it sits right between winter solstice, December 21st, when the sun is at its lowest point as experienced on the northern hemisphere, where most people live. So we are kind of a polarized planet to start with. The south is always second. It has never been the mainstay of civilizations. Even if you go back, Atlantis and Lemuria, all these big civilizations have been mainly on the northern hemisphere. So we can safely say the northern hemisphere is really the most important one. In that sense, winter solstice for the northern hemisphere is a beginning point. And then the next beginning point is spring equinox, when the sun crosses over the equator and the natural year starts, the vegetative cycle with nature waking up. And so in between these two cardinal points, the midpoint is the new moon in Aquarius. So the long and short, that new moon on February the 8th, 2016, you can see, I mean, it jumps to eye. This is a powerful chart with Uranus rising. That's here. Let me see if I can get to it. That's Uranus here in red. That's the ascendant, and that is Aries. Now, Uranus is about breaking things open, change, redirecting, particularly in Aries, that whole stretch, those whole 7 years, which I guess was between 2011 and 2018, with Uranus in Aries, initiating, opening, rephrasing everything, looking at it in new ways. That is that 7 year period, and it has been really put right into focus with that fire monkey energy. And now what you see here on the other side here is the dark moon, and this is also very obvious if we look at what's happening, particularly in the United States. It has been pretty much the shadow has been shown to everybody. Everybody knows now that the elections are rigged, that the political system is corrupt. So this is that whole energy of revolution just starting to gain momentum. It won't happen overnight again. It will be a slow start, but with that change we have seen just today, or will see, I should say, with Mars entering Sagittarius right on a new moon. This is big. This is really a change of tone. So these coming 8 weeks are exciting. Sagittarius can be a wild ride, rebellious, trusting that existence takes us to the place we are meant to go, courageous, feeling that strength which we have within ourselves. And there's a few really powerful alignments just around the corner. On August 9th, seen from the sun, if you were standing on the sun, if you want, just imagine for a moment, just if you were right at the center of the solar system. That's how the planets are distributed, and because Earth is kind of a little off-centered, we always see things in a bit of a different perspective. So this is heliocentric astrology we are looking at now. And on August the 9th, Jupiter enters the sign Libra. Now this change will happen too, seen from Earth a few weeks later. I guess it's by the end of August or early September. I should look it up. Okay, just give me 1 sec. I will tell you. When is that gonna happen? Okay. Bear with me. Just Maybe let's go here where we know it fastest. Let's just calculate. That's a great program actually I'm showing you here. It's called Rayal. It's it has been it's freeware by Juan Revilla, a great astrologer, and you can Google it if you're an astrologer. Rayal, well, I guess it's a little bit out of the window here. Let me just pull it in. Rayal for Windows has many great little special features, and here we can planetary sign ingress, and then we choose Jupiter and we choose OK and say, let's say till 2018. Let's just play it that way. And then you see, yes, 0 Libra on the 9th of September. Okay, here we go. So on the September 9, Jupiter will also, as seen from Earth, having moved on into Libra. However, this means by August 9, Jupiter and Venus actually simultaneously move into Libra and territory. This is not yet fully being felt when this happens. This is the outpour of the sun will change, if you want, the subtle frequency the sun has, because this is how the sun perceives the planets. Now what happens on that day too, or the day after, is Mars-Pluto conjunction, also as seen from the sun heliocentrically. So these are both two big shifts. Venus-Jupiter simultaneously moving into Libra is bringing the focus on to the social level. It will become way more easy and important to connect with friends, family, groups, meeting, coming together, sharing ideas, and building that momentum. It is also interesting that on that same day, Mercury heliocentrically will change signs into, you guess, Sagittarius, adding fuel to the fire of rebellion and demanding the truth, demanding to get our say, and the opening of all the lies and corruption. All that stuff will be really starting to roll out strongly, with lots of social interaction. And it will mainly be something really empowering and optimistic. It's like a new wind is entering Mars-Pluto here on the other side too. That is a power couple. Mars is, by seeing it from the geocentric perspective, still in the early degrees of Sagittarius. As I say, as seen from the Earth, Mars is just entering Sagittarius today, August the 2nd, and will be entering the following sign, Capricorn, by September 27th. However, from a heliocentric, from the sun's perspective, this is how it looks on August the 9th. This is the same moment when Jupiter enters Libra, as seen from the sun, and this is the perspective we get from planet Earth. And here you see Jupiter 23 Virgo, Venus at 4 degrees Virgo, and this is an interesting stellium here, an arrangement of planets all in Virgo, centering the midpoint of this is at around 13 degrees, right on Mercury and the lunar north node. This is just doubling up what I said about communication, making our minds realizing what's going on, sharing it, and it's all still in the realm of Virgo, which is about healing and understanding, of sorting out all the details. And this is happening under a Scorpio moon. And you see here is Mars, as seen from Earth by that time within a week, is here in the 3rd degree of Sagittarius. Actually, under a 90-degree angle to Venus, a square, which enhances that dynamic a lot. It's about being creative with the facts, finding ways to reach people, to make them interested, to speak out. Now all the time, and this is kind of something which is going on for many months, there is Neptune here opposing the lunar north node, and the nodes, the lunar nodes, okay, that's something maybe if you're not familiar with astrology, I should give you a very short intro into that. The nodes of the moon is where the moon's orbit, where the moon's path crosses the plane of Sun and Earth. So if this is the moon's orbit, then kind of in 2 points it crosses, because it's not exactly in the same plane, they're kind of a little off each other. So these 2 points where the moon intersects, the moon's path intersects with the Sun-Earth plane, are called the lunar nodes. And that's where eclipses happen. Whenever the sun comes close to the nodes, which you see is happening within the next few weeks, the sun is now pulling closer. In 2 weeks we will have a lunar eclipse. Actually, it's a partial eclipse, or even just an well, I have to look it up. Let me see if I have it here. It's an appulse eclipse. That's the appulse eclipse. You see, by then the sun is closer, and then 2 weeks later again, that is August 18, actually, when the first appulse eclipse happens. Sorry, now the chart jumped. And then on September 1st, we will have a solar eclipse. You see, then we are really close. This is the node here, and this is sun and moon. So that tells you the story about the nodes. They are major interaction points between moon and sun energy. So we are back here to that August 9 chart, where Mercury is aligned with the lunar nodes, which, in short, the lunar nodes, as I say, interaction of moon and sun energy, that's translates as the main direction of where evolution is going. The lunar nodes change signs every 18 months approximately, and in Virgo now we can say pretty much for a year, and you're kind of in the middle, probably into mid 2017. I would have to look it up to give you the exact figures, but you get the idea. The sign Virgo is where we are focused, where we are meant to go on an evolutionary level, individually and collectively, but just healing, understanding, integrating. And the south node, that's where the moon is kind of setting into the sun earth plane again, if you want, going down, and then on the other side coming up again. Kind of, that's the way I should show it. Okay. Guess you got the picture. So this is the kind of the what has to be transcended, and also what we have in abundance, which is Neptune energy. Neptune, so that there is lots of potential intuition, that we sense where it's going, that we get that connection to the spirit world, to the invisible realms. It also means that deception, cheating, all these things which we have seen in the United States really popping open, that has come really into the light with that South Node Neptune theme. Neptune is no more able to really hide itself. Most particularly also there is this 90-degree aspect from Saturn. Another big cycle actually, which also is in its third quarter, in its waning moon phase. Saturn-Neptune star cycle started in 1989 and it will last into 2026, and we have come 3 quarters through. In 1989, Neptune was here somewhere in Capricorn, and Saturn has traveled all this arc in these whatever 25, 26 years, and still going for another 10 years approximately till Saturn is then again meeting with Neptune, and that will be actually in the first degree of Aries by 2026, which is another interesting hint that something new is beginning. The first degree of Aries is extremely loaded with fresh beginnings, with perspectives, pioneering grounds, all this. So we have that first degree Aquarius meeting in 2020 of Jupiter and Saturn, and in 2026 it will be Saturn and Neptune in the first degree of Aries. And so what I want to come back to now is we're at that third quarter of that cycle. Saturn is here, Neptune here. So Saturn is kind of making things visible. It is interesting that Saturn actually helped to discover Neptune. Neptune is a very elusive planet, a very elusive force, very easy to miss because it's so not visible. It has that ability to make itself just blend in totally like a chameleon. It's taking on the colors of the background. So Saturn was conjunct Neptune when that means they were both in the same degree when Neptune finally was found in 1846. It so happens, and this is historically actually documented, that Galileo Galilei in 1609 already observed Neptune when he observed Jupiter. The two planets were again in the same spot in the sky, and Galileo Galilei missed that opportunity. Well, the world wasn't ready yet. He thought that big other star was actually a star, and it was a planet after all we know that was that famous Jupiter Neptune conjunction of 1609, which Galileo observed and actually documented the position of that star. Well, it was a planet Neptune over several days, and he kind of missed out on that. It needed Saturn's help to detain Neptune. So Saturn again is helping this year, and this will be actually their third exact square coming up later this month, just close to the I guess it's, yeah, I don't have the chart here ready for you to show you that. I will do that in a later update. So anyway, this is let's go back to this chart here. So that's today's chart again, with Mars entering Sagittarius. So maybe one more thing I want to say is that okay, we had that Libra ingress heliocentrically of Jupiter on August 9. This is as seen from Earth. Then this is a few days later, right? That's the next one I wanted to quickly put some light on. Jupiter here exactly, and here on the wounded healer on the other side. That's another theme which is coming up a lot this year, which actually intensifies that urgency towards healing society, healing individually, bringing out the shadows, cutting through obstacles, taking on conflicts, because conflicts are important. They are creating the friction which evolution needs to progress. Without friction, there is no progress, period. That's why, just on a side note, we always are teaming up with partners, friends, mates, husbands, wives, which have kind of a different take on things. We need that friction to fully integrate and find who we are to heal. This is strongly enhanced this year again, the whole year. These are two very slow pokes. Jupiter has actually been just touching that 23rd degrees around its station. Jupiter came from Leo, entered Virgo late last year, and then it went up to the 23rd degree, and I would have to look that up, but it retreated again. Again, that's because from Earth's perspective, we do our own moves, swing forth and back, and then that makes planets look going backwards. However, Jupiter has just been coming closer again to that opposition point of Chiron, and will make its third and last opposition, as you see, by August 12th. Just one day later, Saturn will be, now I don't think let's see if I have that chart here handy for you. I don't think I drew it. Let me just show you. One sec. This is in a powerful chart too. Let me see where it is. Okay, I know. I think I didn't. Yeah. Well, I just tell you. How about that? Okay. So Saturn will actually turn stationary direct on the 13th of August. That means in this chart you see Saturn is still having that little R here. That means it still appears to move backwards. And then if we, let me just do that quickly, that then might give you an idea what I mean. Let's do dynamic. And let's go through one, sorry. Okay. Let's just start with. Yeah, let's take this one. Okay, here you see this is now the animated chart wheel. If we just go now here you see that's the moment Saturn is now moving forward again. That is actually the real, the very moment. Now if you go, now just watch here as I click a day back, then you see that little R showing up again. That was August 12th. So Saturn is just about starting to move forward again on that August 12th, and then on August 13th it has changed. That is a very important moment. Every year that happens once, that a big planet like Saturn, after retreating for 4 to 5 months, depending on how far away the planet is, the further away the planet is from the Sun, the bigger is that amount of time it seems to go backwards. So Saturn moves forward again on August 13, and then 10 days later, now let's go back here to this one, 10 days later, Mars and Saturn will meet. You see, if we go one chart back, which is 12 days earlier, now, I mean, it's a different time of day, but you see Mars is here at 4 degrees, Saturn at 9 degrees something, and 12 days later, Mars has pulled up and forming a conjunction, and this is again the chart drawn for Washington DC. You see that Saturn Neptune conjunction right at the root of this chart, meaning it's particularly strongly expressing itself through that location, and at the same time the lunar nodes are right in the ascendant descendant axis with Neptune. This is indicating that this coming Mars Saturn cycle will be extremely important. It will be the main place on our planet where it will show its full glory of changing. Mars and Saturn, the main theme of this planetary couple is endings and new beginnings. These are two radicals. They know no pardon. They are going strictly by cosmic rules, if you want. Very clear-cut. Mars, the planet of action, Saturn, the planet of endings, if you want. So it's an ending and a new beginning whenever these two form a strong aspect. Now, at the same time, you see, as I said, the lunar nodes here in the ascendant descendant axis, which means it is indicating the American nation finding themselves, realigning with their true nature. Venus, Jupiter, Mercury in the first house in a close encounter, showing this extreme optimism, a great outlook, and yes, the focus is on healing, on finding ways to change this difficult situation we are still in. It won't happen immediately, it will take time, but this coming 8-week period is a very important time. We will see 3 eclipses, as I mentioned, August 18, the pulse lunar eclipse, September 1st, the solar annular eclipse in Virgo, and then on September 16th, yet another pulse lunar eclipse with the moon in Pisces, close to Chiron again. So this new moon then bring full focus towards that healing aspect. And this is a great chart again for Washington DC, with Uranus and Aries this time here at the 4th house cusp. Aries is the disruptive energy which breaks again, actually the literal connection to the Greek mythology. Aries, E-R-I-S, discovered 2003. Aries dethroned Pluto because Aries is slightly bigger than Pluto, so that was the main reason. Pluto lost its planetary status. So Aries is kind of a disruptive energy, throws in the apple of discord, breaks those kind of structures open. Bernie Sanders, Donald Trump, just to mention something. I mean, both these candidates were not the party's choice. They disrupted the whole process in a big way. Even if Hillary Clinton is elected, which probably will happen, but nevertheless the revolution has begun. It might take a little longer. Patience is needed. We have to build from the base. We have to elect a good Congress. That's really the spine of the nation's change. If Congress changes, if we get better members in there, less lobbyists, less controlled by big corporations, then we will be able to start getting a movement in the right direction, also in a political way, which is important. So yes, we have this Uranus Aries at the last of the 3 eclipses, September 16, just 10 days before Mars changes into Capricorn, which will be another big change of pace. But for the time being, till about September 27, this is really that fiery, revolutionary, go for it energy. We said here there is Uranus Aries, and in the opposite end, at the crown of this chart, the most visible Venus, Astrea, and Hygeia. Venus, naturally, you would guess that is about harmony, coming together, working together. Astrea is one of the asteroid goddess, so is Hygeia. Astraea has been the last goddess still remaining on Earth after things went bad. That's the myth. So Astraea has an extreme endurance, is ready to clean up the mess, is ready to roll up the sleeves and do the homework which is necessary to bring healing, prosperity, sanity. That's all things Hygeia is standing for. All the while, Juno, planet of coming together and sharing responsibility, a very important asteroid goddess in that sense of being on it to get changes rolling. Juno is here married, if you want, with the dark moon, understanding the shadows, the problems, the difficulties, but also the division within our society, and finding ways to mend the gaps between left and right, between Republicans and Democrats, between whites and blacks, between Hispanics and whites, and kind of it's a very powerful combination, again, which has been going on for quite a few months. They were moving in sync, these two. So it is kind of a trademark too of 2016 of fully recognizing the deeper reasons and sources, and also the manifestations of that potential darkness, because before we see something, we will not be able to diagnose it and find the remedy for it, which is all up here. So anyway, the long and short, this got a bit longer than I was actually intending to, but the long and short, we are just getting into a 8-week period of extreme possibilities, openings, chances. Just stay with the momentum and understand it takes maybe a little longer than we were hoping it would take, but these are huge changes, one step at a time. We will get there by 2020. I guarantee you this world will look very different from what it is right now. Thank you for listening. Again, my personal website is thecosmoswithin.org, and my Facebook page, where I'm mostly active on, is Celestial Rhythms. Thank you for watching. Have a great day.